What's going on, guys? My name is Trevor. Welcome back to the channel. We are about halfway through 2023 and we are exactly halfway from all the comic movies coming out this year. There are 10 coming out total in 2023 and we have had 5 come out so far. So today I am sharing with you my ranking from my least favorite to my favorite of the 5 comic movies that we have gotten so far, and it's a pretty straightforward and easy ranking. Let me know your ranking down below in the comment section. Leave a like, hit a subscribe button, notification bell for me. Let's get into this. So in last place at number 5 is Shazam! Fury of the Gods. I wasn't really looking forward to this one all that much just because of where the DCEU was going and how it was obviously coming to an end very soon, and it just did with The Flash, and this movie just felt like one that I was pretty surprised got made because the first Shazam didn't do great at the box office by any means, and when this one got announced and it kept getting delayed and delayed, I think just the hype level went down for it, and I had a fine enough time, I had a fun time, just a very unmemorable movie. Rachel Zegler, in my opinion, should have been in the movie a lot more than she was because she was easily the best part, and Zachary Levi carries like he always does. I just wanted a lot more from this one, and it's sad to see because I felt like it was almost a waste of time because this movie went nowhere, so I hope the rest of this cast, they all land on their feet somewhere, and I can't wait to see what they do next, but Shazam! Fury of the Gods is in last as of right now. At number 4, I have AntMan and the Wasp: Quantumania. This is setting up Kang as the big villain for the MCU, and I just never got that vibe from him. I always found him kind of being like almost a whiny little dude, like, you're supposed to be the next big bad for the MCU? I'm not buying it, but for Ant-Man, of all the characters, I think he's a great side character, but for Ant-Man to get 3 movies inside the MCU, it always just, it kind of rattled my brain that he's one of the few Avengers who get actually a trilogy, let alone a sequel and another, a trilogy. It's kind of bizarre to me, but this one coming in this time around, I mean, it's one I didn't hate, I didn't absolutely love. I definitely need to go back and watch it again, but I just felt like after watching it, I was like, man, this did not do anything for Kang for me. If anything, it just made me think that if Scott Lang, Ant-Man, can beat you the way he kind of beats up Kang throughout this movie, what are the rest of the Avengers going to do? How are you supposed to be the big villain of this movie? And after seeing this, especially, where are we going with Kang? Is Jonathan Majors going to play him? Are we recasting? It's kind of in the unknown. It's definitely not helping this movie's case out. And MODOK, Darren, don't be a dick. I thought it was a very funny line, but like he just looked awful. How can you make that look good? I mean, just zoom in on my face. Like how can you make that look good? I don't think it can. But this movie does have some heart and some charm. The father-daughter relationship between Cassie and Scott Lang works pretty well. We are missing Luis in this movie. Absolutely, you need Michael Pena in there, kind of recapping everything going on. But overall, a lower stakes movie. Try to have a big epic ending, which I thought was cool, but I also thought was pretty cheesy in a way. But it's not like I'm hating on it. I definitely like it more than Shazam! Fury of the Gods, but I don't think that's saying all that much. Middle of the road, maybe more towards the bottom tier of the MCU for me. At number 3 is The Flash. So much controversy going into this movie. Is Ezra Miller gonna turn in the performance of a lifetime? Michael Keaton, Batman's here. Where is this movie going? It's supposed to reset the entire DCEU, and Ezra Miller did great as Barry Allen. I'm just going to say it how it is. Michael Keaton was awesome to see back as Batman. The Batfleck was really cool to see back as Batman for one final time. But to set up the future of the DCU, I just don't understand how this movie did that. And I just want to give this movie credit where credit's due. It works for the first 2/3, especially that first act. I was really hooked. Second act kind of got a little slower, but was like, okay, third act's going to wrap it up nicely. In my opinion, the third act completely fell apart. And DC's not really known for great CGI for a lot of their movies, and this one falls into the trap of just crap CGI. And every time there was 2 Barry Allens on screen, one just looked terrible, looked super awful. And the cameos in this movie, and this is the over amount of hype going into this movie. Everyone's saying this is the greatest comic movie of time. This is the best DC movie since The Dark Knight. I'm not buying it, people. And I just can't believe people are saying that. Like, over the Batman, over the Suicide Squad, over the Snyder Cut, I just don't see how this movie's better than that. But if you think that, 100% respect and power to you. But in this movie, I think it was doomed from the start, at least for me, because of how overhyped it was. Everyone's saying it's one of the greatest things since sliced bread. So I was going in expecting literally the best DC movie since The Dark Knight, one of the greatest comic movies of all time, and I think that did a disservice to this movie, and I guess that's just from the early reviews. But I will say, you can have some fun with this movie. And when the Flash action is going on, it does look pretty cool. And Michael Keaton back on as Batman, again, is pretty sick. Seeing the Batfleck back. But the third act is so all over the place. Having 3 different versions of the Flash all on screen. I kind of just started scratching my head going like, where are we going? My wife absolutely hated this movie. She literally said when we walked out, that was awful. Least favorite movie of the year. And I was like, not that for me. I definitely enjoyed it a little bit more because I had some fun. I was laughing, and I just don't understand how this set up the DCU, so I'm excited to see, I guess, where the DCU is going to go from here. But to close out the DCEU, It did a fine job, and I'll stand by this. Kara, Supergirl, and also Michael Keaton's the Batman should not have been in this movie. Like, there wasn't enough for them to do, especially for Kara. I mean, she was just there to inevitably meet her fate, I guess. But nonetheless, The Flash is at 3. Sorry for rambling. At number 2, the most positive I could be for a second place movie, and it's right there for number 1. These number 1 and number 2 are going to go back and forth as my favorites of the year so far. Number 2 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This was my most anticipated movie of the year, and it delivered, and it's arguably my favorite over number 1. They go back and forth all the time. James Gunn delivered on a heartfelt, emotional story about the character of Rocket that just hits you right in the feels. It took a direction that I was not expecting in the beginning. How the beginning happens, how everything goes down, and kind of sets up the whole movie. I was kind of caught off guard. The High Evolutionary is a menacing villain, but to see the Guardians all back on the big screen for possibly the last time was something super awesome to see. Adam Warlock, for when he was on screen, I enjoyed him enough. Kind of probably my least part of the movie. I feel like he shouldn't have been in it. But to see a movie so devoted to Rocket, and the first words Rocket ever says was hurt. You see how much pain he was dealt from the High Evolutionary. It makes you hate this villain that much more. It makes for a very great villain. This movie has my favorite version of Groot, arguably my favorite soundtrack of any of the Guardians movies. And there were several moments where my jaw dropped to the floor. My wife cried her eyes out, not once, not twice, but 3 different times throughout this movie. It hits on the emotions, and the more I talk about this one, it should be at number 1 just from how much I love it. And I mean, that Dog Days Are Over song towards the end of the movie, that's like, that was the perfect song to wrap it up. And I give myself chills when I talk about it. And this, to this day, has the best action scene I've ever seen in a comic book movie, with No Sleep Till Brooklyn playing in the background. You're in a POV with the Guardians fighting. It was honestly epic and beautiful, and I absolutely loved it. And there's nothing wrong with this movie. There's nothing I don't like about it. And James Gunn, I mean, just what a hoorah to send off for the MCU. But at number 1 is Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse. Guardians in this one are going to go back and forth all year for my favorite movie of the year, because these are my top 2 favorite movies of the year. And I only saw Guardians of the Galaxy once, but I saw Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse twice, so that's why I'm giving the edge to Across the Spider-Verse. And this is, first off, beautiful animation. I would say even more beautiful than Into Spider-Verse. You have some of the best Spider-Man action with like hundreds of Spider-Man characters all on screen at the same time. Miguel O'Hara, I loved him so much. He's one of my favorite Spider variants. A lot of people hated him. I resonated with this guy. I think he's going to be extra evil when it comes into Beyond the Spider-Verse next year. But overall, the only gripe I have with this movie is that towards the beginning, it is a little bit slower, more of a family drama than a Spider-Man movie. That's what I think I love about it so much, and the more I think about it, the more this movie just resonates with me. I love the character Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy, and to see all these characters brought on screen from different variants of Spider-Man we haven't seen before, like Spider-Punk, Hobie Brown, voiced by Daniel Kaluuya. Arguably my favorite part about this movie. You take a crap on society, I salute you. This movie is absolutely hilarious. Some, again, the greatest animation you'll see. Some of the best Spider-Man action you'll ever see. And I love the way this movie ended with this cliffhangery setup for Beyond the Spider-Verse coming out next year. This movie gave me everything and more I could have wanted. Absolutely loved it. As of right now, it's a close race, but it's my favorite comic movie of the year so far. Let me know your ranking of all 5 comic movies that came out in 2023 so far. Which one's your favorite? Which one's your least favorite? Let me know down below. Leave a like, hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next one.